We have with us today MasterCard and your humble servant Francis right on the program. And we encourage you to join us. Always remember to subscribe. Subscribe to our program. We are the new kid on the block and we need you to subscribe, like, and share. Remember, on this program, we provoke discussion. We believe that we're in a democratic system that is alive and well. We must guard it jealously. We must not let anyone steal that right away from us to discuss issues. And if we say something on this program and you don't like it, take issue with us. If you believe it is not true, correct us immediately. We ask a lot of questions because we are concerned and we believe we could make a better country if we discuss issues. Today, the topic is why Dickon Mitchell and the NDC are committing all these blunders. This government has been in power for less than 3 years. And we see a pattern. We believe some of these things that they are doing are deliberate. They are not, it's not mistakes. Politicians just make mistakes. And you could chastise them when they make mistakes. But these are not mistakes. We watch them close. They are Dickon Mitchell and the NDC are committing blunders. But we believe they are doing it maliciously, purposely, is part of a pattern. So we're asking why. It's very important for those members who are apologists, those strong supporters of NDC. It is important for you to able to explain why Dickon Mitchell and the NDC are doing some of the things that they do. Why they're doing it. Do you hear me? Well, I don't know if you offer one. But anyway, the question is why they are doing it. So we those questions are asked. Remember the number to call is 536-2558. We'll read some of your posts. And as we say, we're particularly interested in NDC hotshots. You don't run, don't hide. We asking question in the public. Defend it. You could attack us personally if we want. If you want, we don't care. You're supposed to know at this stage we're not bothering with the sideshows. Any personal attack, we see it as a effort to distract the truth, and we don't a trajectory of fighting the truth. Why Dickon Mitchell and the NDC is committing all these blunders? Master Carl, you in tongue long enough. Why do you believe they are deliberately doing that? Take, for instance, the first thing that the NDC did was to go after old people, physically challenged and disadvantaged children. After they promised them they would take care of them, after they quoted reputable organization to reinforce, to make these people have the courage of their conviction, then immediately on winning election, they attack these people. Why do you believe they're doing it? It cannot be because of economic reasons, because money was not the problem. We believe they were malicious. So, Massacre.
Good afternoon, morning, whatsoever, where you are. Thanks for having me again, Senior. Now, this discussion, before I get into the meat of the discussion, I must go back to the foundation. Now, sometime in 2022, or 2021 thereabouts, Dickon Mitchell came on the scene politically, and he was sold as a guy with deep pocket and connections. We can't forget that part. The question asked by me and many others at the time was, does he have institutional knowledge? Some people jump up and say, oh, give him a chance. NMP, they long. Then we say, why is he and a bunch of NDC people so arrogant? They say everybody, they're big people and they are to our ambition. And we point out the inexperience among the group. But people answer and say, well, give them a chance, man. So, as one of the girls say, if you want some song, the whole market, so we just give them the whole market without knowing what they think. I just say first order of business, which got me to sit up in my chair about the Prime Minister. The campaign was based on transformation. Everything was transformation. And the first opportunity the Prime Minister got with a Tobago outlet, he indicated then that the campaign was on transformation, but it is really restorative justice. Restorative justice is mischieving people. It simply means you believe this person didn't get something, so at any cost you go take something and give them. And that is exactly what is happening, senior. It started off with the workers in Carriacou. And as you rightly point out, senior, they attack the most vulnerable because they don't like the words. But vulnerable does not only mean you don't have, it means the inability to defend yourself. So they go after those who they sure can defend themselves. They go after those they know the union wouldn't defend. They go after those who they think the lawyers would not defend. And they took what they had from them in terms of jobs and so forth. So that is the antecedents at the National Democratic Congress, senior. And they continued. Then they decide, because I want you to look up this word they for me, it's corruption, because corruption is something, as we say last week, is synonymous with the National Democratic Congress. Then they decide, no, we go full with boots. And you see, this thing is systematic, senior. Because the man they put in charge of MIT, we can leave that and forget that in the discussion as to the actions of the Congress. And we knew the action and the antecedents of the gentleman. He even went in a sanctuary and said, yes, I could have go in jail and all this kind of thing. I have no original ideas. And then they rest the whole supermarket in the hand of that gentleman. So when you see these things that are going on, and we could list them, senior, because when we speak here, we speak with authority and we don't come here and just if and but. So, senior, I want us to start with the African connection, senior.
Now you go. We starting. That is the middle. Mm-hmm. We start with the elderly, and you touch on restorative justice, but I want to stay on it a while because the question we ask is why the Prime Minister establish restorative justice. And from the time he said that, in fact, about 3 months after he made that statement, we gave him an opportunity to check himself and maybe say at the point in time, I was so excited. I don't know which one I like more in Tobago, whether it was the man or the woman. So I make a mistake. So after 3 months of that statement, and when we saw the implementation, the workability of it on the ground, we say no. This restorative justice really means vengeance and political victimization. And from then on, we was asking why the Prime Minister of Grenada and the majority of members who form the government, who won election was not in the political power before. They were new. So they did not have no axe to grind. There was no justification, no reason, no apparent rationale for bitterness or hatred in these people. In fact, they campaigned and told the people, we knew, we offer you something new. There is none among us that was in politics before. They did everything possible to hide the senior members of government, Franca Bonadin, Tillman Thomas, Nazim Bok. During the election campaign, they deliberately wanted to hide these individuals, to give the people the impression that we brand new. We would not be vindictive. We don't have no axe to grind. Why was this deliberate attempt to deceive our public? They got into power and they campaigned on dramatic change, transformation. We're going to do that with a stroke of a pen. It is a criminal act that the government did not do it before. So people expected dramatic change. Every question you ask Dickon Mitchell, Kennedy Boudreaux said that every question I ask him, he answer. All that time, we believe that the government sat down and planned to con Grenadians. They planned to deceive Grenadians. They knew deep down they had no intention of transforming anything except perhaps the amount of money that they could leech from the government coffers. But it sold that to the people. What is it? And we've been asking why. We asked the question, who sent Dickon Mitchell? We were interested. We wanted to know who are the master planners. We realized that some of the elderly traditional NDC was not very impactful in the policies of this new group. So who was these people that was forming this new NDC and why they were forming it? Because restorative justice, as we see it play out, and we will talk about it again, was so significant. And then we're asking, who is the third party? It seems that there was some power more powerful than Dickon Mitchell. Then Dickon Mitchell will just be a rara. Somebody is pulling the string. We ask about a third party directing your foreign affairs. This is a fundamental issue. I am so disappointed. I only have some consolation because of the writings of Malcolm X. Because Malcolm X warned us about the fourth estate. But it saddened my heart to see how the fourth estate was enveloped by Dickon Mitchell and his group of vultures. Because it must be of concern to Grenadians. If there is an accusation, if there is yet a call on the line, if there is an accusation that you have a third party directing your foreign affairs.
But remember, during the campaign, when Dickon Mitchell, Prime Minister of Grenada, spoke about the fourth estate, he singled out some of his colleagues in the fourth estate. He was emboldened to call them and say, these people are really the bastions of the fourth estate. So when he actually gained power, when we give him the whole market, those persons got muted because there are certain things you hearing about those persons and certain things they allegedly inherit. They don't want it come out, so they just remain mute.
But it seems they have been properly enveloped in Dickon policy.
They handcuff them out.
Well,
And
I like that one. They handcuff them out.
and you have been calling on them time and time again. Because there are certain questions we would ask, and we believe the position they are or they were or seems to be, they might get answers. And what is the strange thing about it, Senior? If you listen every one of those Fourth Estate members with an interview with the Prime Minister, they ask the same questions.
And they're practically making a whole paragraph before the Prime Minister to answer. They're practically giving him the answer. I have never heard journalists ask questions. So. A whole paragraph they're giving him why they should answer. They're practically telling him how to answer. These members are diluting their own significance.
And the fact that the Prime Minister, is not giving information because he says information is on a need to know. That leaves you, Senior, to speculate. Because when you can't get answers and the Fourth Estate do interested in getting answers, but the people in the country need answers, it leaves people like me here to speculate what is going on.
Well, we're in a terrible situation because 50 years after independence, you don't want a third party directly directing your foreign policy. We understand that we are pawns in big people game. We have the imperial power. We have the left. We have the right. We have the right of center. All of them influencing. But when you have another third party directing your foreign policy, every institution in Grenada have to be concerned.
Point to note here, Senior. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, every time there is a contentious issue, and we look at the Samoa agreement, he lied. His true nature, he spoke of in the news conference about the sovereignty and so forth, sovereignty of Grenada and signing any agreement. Subsequent to that, we learned that the agreement, at the time when the Prime Minister and the Minister of Foreign Affairs Minister, the agreement was signed. He went on a friendly media or not station media program, and they had to give him water. He nearly choked.
Get sick. The man gets sick.
Up to now, the Prime Minister said he didn't have time to read or whatsoever. However, he could have taken issue with what a priest say in Trinidad. But up until now, the Prime Minister has not returned. Or the Foreign Affairs Minister and tell the nation, well, we tell her that, but by we tell the man to go ahead and sign it. So
maybe they didn't tell. Maybe somebody ordered them to sign.
That a billing a case to say what you say is a fact. Because if up to now they can come back and we know the agreement was signed, nothing happened to the ambassador who signed the agreement. So that means there's some authority for you to do it. Because if he didn't have authority to do it, something would have happened to him, Senior. So the question is, who or what is controlling the foreign affairs of this country? And we need the Fourth Estate in a matter like that, but the Fourth Estate is not willing the glorified, the how you call them, the photogenic one, the doctor of journalism,
cyclist, the doctor of journalists, and the photogenic one. All of them.
The other side of the coin, and them they don't asking.
The other side of the coin. Right now, he said the coin on the other side. The other side of the coin has lost his ability to speak, a man that was very vocal. So this must be of concern to us because a small nation of Grenada, we have to understand there are people in the world that have more money and more resource than the whole GDP of Grenada.
Yes.
So small democratic countries, if you find leaders without character and without morals,
Without spine.
you could sell your country, could be sold right under your nose.
And what is concerning about Grenada? The Prime Minister again went on one of the outlets and said he is the chief seller of Grenada. He said he, not tourism ministry and so on. He said he. And his connection to Dangote and them with a lot of money, as you talk about who have more money than the GDP of Grenada, is a matter for concern.
Dangote is is a very wealthy individual in the world. But when the Prime Minister brought Dangote in Grenada, the Prime Minister sell Dangote as a rich man. That must have been insulting to Dangote, or Dangote must see the Prime Minister as something that easy to buy. Now, the Prime Minister could have sold Dangote if he had an interest in the development of Grenada as a successful businessman, and let him have an audience with the Chamber of Commerce, the private sector, the commodity boards, and even take him to students in National College and send representative of secondary school children that studying money management and business or economics and have a discussion with him to arouse their business interests. The Prime Minister did not do that. He was gallivanting and floating around the country with a rich man. It means that the Prime Minister seems to be so excited that he had a sugar daddy. That is the only category I could put him in. Why bring Dangote in Grenada? We have not heard Dangote spend a 50 million to help sports or cricket. No. I don't know if it's Dangote that gave him 1,000 cricket kits. I have not seen what in the cricket kit. But I assume that a cricket kit would involve a bat, a pair of pads, a ball's glove. What you call the one they put to protect your balls again? Use an old cricket.
It's a suspender.
A suspender?
Yeah.
That is the word we used to use in yesteryear.
So I know it.
Suspender.
Yeah,
You
but
could
you
see a ball's guard.
Yeah.
You see, I tell you, I'm from the old school. In those days, we didn't know a word called suspender.
This they call it box.
We used to call it a ball's guard. We used to put cardboard to protect the balls when we were playing. They evolved. So a cricket kit would involve a pair of gloves, a bat or a pair of bat, a cricket boots perhaps, and a ball's guard. No, you Dangote is said to give Dickon 1,000. That was a personal thing because Dickon used the 1,000 in his constituency.
As a personal gift.
So it was a personal gift.
Which should be reported.
Dickon didn't take it and give it to the Cricket Association. That was a decent thing to do. Or Dickon didn't give it. I don't know who organized primary school sports. Is it primary school cricket sports? I don't know if they still have that. Who used to organize this?
No, I don't know who do that.
Right. If it is the Ministry of Sport, the decent thing to do was to give it to the Ministry of Sport. But this thing was personal. So Dickon take it and he bring it in St. David's in his constituency. That's why I tell you, that's a sugar daddy. Now, why is it we speaking about Grenada, This is not a personal story. When we look at the pattern of the actions taken by Dickon and the NDC government, we are extremely concerned. We are worried. And we're asking why. We have been pleading with the NDC political activists, the politicos and apologists, to ask this question.
But senior, let me tell you this. Now, this thing, we asking the question why. This thing is systematic, and here why I say this thing. You say the first order of business, we talk about restorative justice. Then what happened to the workers? You call them a name at time low-hanging fruits. What do you mean by that? You see the low-hanging fruits.
Easy to pick.
Yeah, so the next move, what they did was to dismantle the RGPF. Frustrate a lot of people who have retired. Then they work on the FIU. Because they know all these departments responsible for investigating.
Check and balance.
So they neutralize the RGPF, they neutralize the FIU, and then they start GDB.
They raid GDB back.
So they know that's also be a financial investigation, and they have FIU in the back pocket to the wearing. National Lottery.
The corruption in National Lottery.
So you keep asking the question, why? And this is a legitimate question. You know? So I hope somebody from the Fourth Estate would be listening to ask this question.
Well, I know Linda Stricker might be asking a question.
Linda, please.
They don't answer Linda Stricker. You see, when we ask this question, NDC political activists want to go after you personally. Our backs are broad, so we don't bother. We're concerned about Jenny Simon because they're using drones and other acts to intimidate her. We're concerned about Andrew Donald because some of the political activists is calling to jail him and they want to use financial strangulation on him. But we are appealing to our country. In a democratic country where we had free election from 1983, you dissolve the government you have. We don't want anybody in Grenada to say they didn't know. So these blatant acts of corruption, we consider it as corruption. Now, if it is not acts of corruption, the NDC must tell us why. We are saying the things that Dickon doing and the NDC, in our opinion, could only be described as blatant acts of corruption, political crimes. But because Dickon and NDC have a policy that is not answering questions, information is based upon need to know. So that is why we're asking questions. If it is not what we say, please tell us what it is. Because we consider it as criminal acts, political crimes, blatant acts of corruption, the acts of a vulture. So we're asking you, we don't know. Based upon the empirical information we have, we come to the conclusion. So we pleading with you. If what we're saying is not true, give us information. And every day, it seems to be getting worse. At one time, we say NDC is a vulture. We give a number of reasons why. We call you poor people terrorists. We give a number of reasons why. One individual say you all are the master deceivers. We give a number of reasons why. We accuse the NDC of inciting violence against the opposition. This one caused with blood to run cold, knowing Grenada.
We must speak to Beryl Senior, and here I want to go with that. Now, Beryl visited us, and there were some areas that received a lot of damage. And this present government continue to make every excuse about burial. Now, we receive money from the CRIF situation. And up until recent times, people in the Prime Minister's constituency who receive less of an impact than people in the Minister of Finance constituency and the Foreign Affairs Minister constituency. But yet the amount of assistance given to people in the Prime Minister's constituency as relates to burial outweighs the assistance in the Finance Minister constituency and the Minister of Foreign Affairs. And that is something that is the policy again. So are we to assume even within the government there are some persons that are more equal than some?
Well, based upon the information we're hearing, I understand when they open their mouth, the Prime Minister asks them if they want to lose the money they get in here. And that is the information we hear on the ground. They say one minister say, what's wrong with you? You getting all this money, what are you talking about? So the Prime Minister seems to have cornered the group that with him, so they cannot ask any question or defend anything. And all of them have to play up to him that them is the real NDC. Because they are afraid that they're going to lose their pay. They won't get an opportunity to get a second vehicle. The level of corruption that exists among this government. We're asking why. What is going to happen to Grenada if, when a new party comes in, they say, well, you all shut all your mouth when NDC did it. So we don't change nothing. All what you see there, we meet it there. And you can't blame them,
So as we're in the area of farming and agriculture, the Prime Minister said in the face of rising global trade tensions and the new U.S. tariff, Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell is calling on the Grenadian farmers to take bold actions, plant more, import less, and grow the nation towards food independence. Senior, I want to comment on that.
The Prime Minister is an agricultural lunatic. The only statement I could make about this Prime Minister with agriculture is concerned, he's an agricultural lunatic. When you go back and take a look at all what the Prime Minister has said in agriculture, somebody should tell the Prime Minister, do not make statement on agriculture unless it is written statement and you have been properly advised. Want somebody, I don't know if it's Winsborough, I don't know if you have any power with this government. I always believe Dennis Cornwall is the only hope in this government. I give up on Lennox Andrew. Somebody have to tell the Prime Minister, before you make statement, write what you want to see so you don't appear to be an agricultural lunatic. When you spoke about Green Lake Chuck to pick guava and coconut and mango, even Dummy James knew this was not possible.
But what is so amazing about it, Senior, simply this. And we could only go by the Prime Minister's utterances. We don't go in outside of that. He said, plant more, import less. But we're still waiting on the white potatoes. We're still waiting on the black pepper.
You see, the Prime Minister raised the price of sugar in Grenada. And when people ask him why he raised the price of sugar, this man telling so much lies, he look childish. The Prime Minister say about diabetes, but he encouraging people to plant white potato. The Prime Minister raised the price of sugar, electricity, and water. Once you do these things, you will cause the increase in almost every other item in the country.
But he say plant more, and in recent times you hear they want to charge people for taking water even in the river.
Well, this one is one for itself. I mean, if you
so
go to this one, we won't come out.
No, I'm just telling you, based on the advice of the Prime Minister and based on the actions of the government, it is contrary.
Well, that's why we're asking why. And there are a number of people in the diaspora all hiding, making statements and hide. We don't want to hide. We want to discuss the issues. And when we ask a question, don't tell us we there you should know. Why is it the Prime Minister continue to make these statements? Because it is counterproductive. We speak about the Green Lake truck. We have not heard any statement from the government that at that time the Prime Minister was under some science influence.
Hear what is laughable, Senior. The Prime Minister. We cannot afford to be vulnerable to the whims of foreign trade policies. This is our opportunity to strengthen local agriculture, support our farmers, and ensure that every Grenadian has access to homegrown, affordable, quality food.
I would have liked the cyclist, the photogenic one, and the doctor of journalists to ask the Prime Minister of, not the Prime Minister, the Prime Minister must shut him out in agriculture. I think he's embarrassing all agriculture officers in the Caribbean now. When the Prime Minister speaks, he causes embarrassment to the technical agriculture people. They should ask the Minister of Agriculture, what is the, in light of what is going on in the world now, what is the justification for the action they take against the Maribor farmers?
But listen, the Prime Minister challenge to local farmers is more than just a reaction. It is a strategic shift. With global supply chain becoming increasingly unstable, Grenada is looking inward to protect its economy and empower its people. But listen, all he offer is white potato, Green Lake truck, and black pepper.
This is an agriculture lunatic. You somehow or the other Grenadian believe because somebody bright, they know everything. Not because the man is a doctor. He could put up blocks in your house. Not because a man is a lawyer. He know how to sell in a bar. You could put a lawyer in a bar when you come back, you get no money.
But as usual, Senior, we don't only criticize, we offer advice. So listen.
Well, I just offer the advice that the Prime Minister must not make agriculture statement unless it is written. He is an agriculture lunatic.
So listen, this Prime Minister. Oh, somebody go tell him. Food security exists when people have access to enough, safe, and nutritious food for normal growth and development.
You get a definition in a thing and like that.
Yeah.
There are no thing in practicality.
But the one I want him to speak more, to learn more, is not just his food sovereignty.
Well, you have a lot of faith in the Prime Minister still.
He's the Prime Minister until
the man Grenada have a compulsive liar. We have to encourage him to cease and desist from making pronouncement on agriculture unless he is properly counseled by an agriculture expert in a written form. How you expect a Prime Minister could tell you he's trapping all this seaweed in the sea? You're going to get a truck to pick Green Lake, to plant white pepper, white pepper?
Black pepper?
Black pepper falling down faster in a hurricane than nutmeg and banana. How you could asking people to plan that as an alternative for the hurricane?
But listen,
You have to be a lunatic.
But listen another joke. Agriculture Minister Lennox Andrew confirmed that the government is allocating resources and fast-tracking support programs to help farmers ramp up output ahead of what could be an economically turbulent season. Why the government now has to allocate resources when they take all the money what was allocated in GDP?
Before I answer that, we have a number of questions on the program, one by Leslie Paris. Remember, these people came to solve Grenada, so they have to answer to us. So we have the right to file a no confidence motion to the government. Well, I again, NNP slipping. Because first of all, NNP should file a no confidence motion in the Speaker of the House and then the government. Greetings, because it sounds like the right thing to say to excite the people. Yes, the Prime Minister is opening him out and word fly out. Stories of the gods. The diaspora want to know, where is Terry Forrester? Does he represent us? Are he in his job to make up position to collect a paycheck? Where is his statement to Grenadians living in America? Caller, you're right. Terry Forrester is an agent of NDC to raise funds for the NDC. He in Grenada now running the NDC propaganda program. He has the ability to be a good diaspora person, but he is being used and manipulated. And as a result of that, he cannot solve the diaspora. He's a hardline, radicalized NDC member. I think that is the last.
That's the last one.
You have another one? Yeah, about 80. Okay. This one is Christopher Stewart.
Yeah.
Galaxy Radio, there is about 83 primary school and 23 secondary school. If you only give each school 2 kids, it would have been a fair play. Caller, you're correct. That's why I said Dickon is so unscrupulous. But if an individual could say morality is a private thing, you understand the level of decadence that we have at the higher level. Dickon had to take this 1,000 kit and surrender the kit to the Integrity Commission, because that was a personal gift. And a prime minister of a country ought not to receive personal gift without handing it over to the Integrity Commission. He used that personal gift in his constituency. 1,000 kit should be handed over to the Cricket Association or to the I don't know if it's the teachers that organize primary school cricket team. Or even if he had distributed among the 15 constituencies, we could have said, it's all right. And you gave the option. If he had given 2 each to the schools in Grenada, Dickon take the 1,000 kit and bring in St. David's. That's a bandit, a political bandit. You ought not to do that. And it's in this time I ask, why they're doing these things? Because I believe every political party, one of their objectives is to get back in power. But if you so blatantly decide to nurse the coffers of this country, to accept gifts from wealthy individuals, then if you come back in power, you come back. I do have no objection to that. It means that our people went to sleep. And I always say our people deserve the government they have. That is why I ask questions. That is why I provoke discussion. That is why I want to bring information to the people. And that is why NDC politicos have to shut them out and hide. They only could attack you personally. They cannot defend. But scholars said it before. We can defend you. During 2008, 2013, scholars said, what the NDC doing there, we can defend you. And even now, Dr. Scholar, they still deceive Dr. Scholar. So that is a challenge we have. And we need to hold this discussion. Because our country, the Prime Minister doesn't seem to have a clear understanding of what is going on based upon the United States policy. And his reaction.
You don't answer the question, you know. Why Mr. Lennox Andrew saying they had to allocate resources when he had money in the GDP for exactly that purpose? And he and others, it is alleged, drain it out.
Well, yeah, the NDC, what happened to these individuals? These individuals, Dickon is so corrupt that he corrupt those individuals. He gave them massive increase in income, more than 300% increase. At first, he said he was giving them $2,000 to pay the driver. We found out that was a lie. And it was tax-free. He raised their salary by 300%. And now he's planning to give them a car? With driver again? In addition to that, one minister in less than 2 years had over $600,000 on our account. New monies on our account. Running up hotel bill in excess of 30,000. The Prime Minister of Grenada, $8 million in under 3 years he spent on travel. Well, me and Motley in Barbados, 7 years, 1.7. This is the level of corruption that exists. So the question is, well, let me take my share. I understand some of them do not believe that they will return to power based upon history and based upon what is going on. So they're grappling. Look at what they did to the Grenada Development Bank. Look at what happened to the National Lottery.
I met a young lady last week, senior. She used to be one of the I-manis, and she tell me she out of her bread right now. Well, the same I-manis they promise to make permanent with the stroke of a pen within 12 months.
Every time you go back and speak about the Imani, it saddens your heart. And I always say to people, when I see violence in Jamaica and Trinidad, I remember sitting in a discussion about 35, 40 years ago, and we discussing Jamaica issue. And we were saying the government in Jamaica is contributing to the violence in Jamaica. And we discussed Trinidad. And what we see now is the government in Grenada is responsible for the upsurge in crime in Grenada. And all the people are laughing, ha, ha, ha. Later on, you go feel it. Even if you in gated communities, that wouldn't be able to save you.
Really, last two comments, senior. So
it would not be able to save you. And we go to some of the comments. The last two. Remember, these people come to serve Grenadians. Okay. Last two, yeah. What proof we have that PM received 100,000 kits? Who can verify that? Well, first of all, you're right question, caller. The Prime Minister lying so much, you don't know what to verify. But it's them that say they receive 1,000 kits.
But the other questions that should be asked.
Good afternoon again. Sorry I come in late. I want to know, what about the 21 containers that was given to the country for the relief to help the country after Hurricane Beryl? by one of the Arab companies.
Arabic.
Yeah, Arabic companies. The only thing I tell you, we don't know. We heard things were being sold. We heard chainsaws and other ability were being sold. A number of new companies starting Grenada, they turn businessmen, but we don't know what happened to it. And maybe with the cyclists, the doctor of journalism, and the photogenic one, they are the ones that have access to Dickon and his group of vultures. They must ask this question. I don't think my cousin Blash know about that. He just fighting to be a NDC. He want to prove to them that he's a real NDC. He don't know.
The guy from Tikolo, no?
No, you don't know. This one fighting to be a real NDC. Danley might know, and Ali Hadim might know. But cousin Blash is the newest radicalized member of NDC. He just fighting to prove to them that he more yellow than Corey. You don't know. I know you don't know. Yeah. So that is a challenge we have.
But the question about what proof is a legitimate question. I'll tell you
Of
why.
course.
Sometimes sometimes was it 1,000 kits and other things what they don't tell us
We
about?
don't know. All Dickon say receive 1,000 kits. And if Dickon say you have to take that with a whole pound of salt. But if he was the richest man in Grenada, 1,000 kits is a small money. That'll cost him 10,000, maybe what? $30,000? We don't even know if they bat good. Because if he using it for small children, he may not be professional gas. We don't know what in it. We guessing is a pair pad because each person have 2 foot, a balls guard, a pair of gloves, a bat. I don't know if he has shoe in it. He may not have hat in it. That they may call a kit.
But what constitutes
And
a
we
kit?
don't know the quality of the gas. We don't know if it's professional or if it's for primary school. All we know is going to St. David's. And that is wrong. That is a personal gift. Dickon have to retire personal gift to the Integrity Commission. That's basically, so we don't know. Caller, we can't help you, but if you ask the doctor of journalism, the photogenic one, and the cyclist, they might ask that question. And they have enough time to prepare an answer, so they would know. This level of corruption, we must ask. Too much. Politicians, as you know, every human being could be tempted. Politicians make mistake. This thing seems to be planned. This thing to be orchestrated. This is malicious. This thing leading us down a precipice. The government is unproductive. When these things are going on in the country, the public officers get unproductive. The teachers' union executive seems to be tied up with this government, lob, stock, and barrel. So that is of no concern to them. And that's the challenge that we have in Grenada. So we continue to ask questions, and we're hoping to provoke members of the National Democratic Congress and hope that they will get a rude awakening and change, because this country belongs to us. We don't want to see increasing violence in this country. What is going to happen? It is happening now. You see restorative justice and people taking the law into their own hands. You see an upsurge in disrespect at all levels. Obscenities being used at all levels. And we believe it's a direct result of Dickon. And we see And we accuse Dickon of inciting violence. And it's not a good thing to incite violence in the country. So we believe we must discuss these issues. We're likely to have some, I would say, some more temporary economic hardship as a result of the government policies. Because one of the things these things do is lack of confidence. Yes, Chief, go right ahead.
So I want to touch something, Senior.
Go right
And it
ahead.
falls right into why the NDC does that. There are three branches of the state: the parliament, the executive, and the judiciary. The executive is responsible to parliament. Parliament is not responsible to the executive. So says the prime minister. So when the executive pass into law at last budget that an EC $10,000 constituency allowance should be given to an MP, Mr. Speaker, I don't need to open no bank account to get the $10,000. That the utterances of the prime minister. To me, Senior, something go right there. What is another stunt he trying to pull? Because a guy, he don't daffing.
The prime minister is not stupid. The prime minister is evil. The prime minister is evil. This thing was not introduced by the opposition. It was introduced by the prime minister. The prime minister already contaminated the public service. So this statement made was to give impression. Maybe to give a few of his supporters 10,000 is being given and the prime minister don't get his. Because we accuse the prime minister of spending $8 million in traveling. Because we accuse the prime minister of making more than 30 million from the sale of passport. Because we accuse the prime minister of being complicit in corruption in the national lottery. Because we accuse the prime minister of flaunting the law in the Grenada Development Bank and raiding the bank. Because we accuse the prime minister of accepting gifts in excess of 30,000 US, which we felt is tantamount to bribery. So this is just a distraction. The prime minister must be saving this money. So at the end of the term, he go and collect it and use it for his campaign purposes. Smart. The prime minister is out of the country with such great regularity that people hardly could get chance to ask him for anything. The prime minister living in Dubai and Nigeria. The prime minister sneaking in Nigeria. And he was brutally chastised by the governor of Lagos. He was chastised. He said, you come in the country secretly. The governor chastised him for not doing the right thing. He said, you're doing the right thing now. He was chastising for his own children. We spoke about it. So the prime minister went and beat his chest.
Senior,
and challenging social media.
You have a question there for your senior.
On social, Grenada is a small place. An adult supposed to know almost all of Grenada. Where is the place called Ticolo? I have been, Grenada is a small place. And I have been challenging the education system in our country. I've been challenging people to let the children know the names of the villages in the community. You might be shocked that a lot of politician teachers don't even know the villages in their own community. Ask the people from St. Andrews, what is the names of the villages in their community? Ask any politician in Grenada to name the village in their constituency. Caller, Go in River Sally, I don't know what community you're from, and ask anybody in River Sally to name me 20 villages in River Sally. This is one of the things you teach your 5-year-old. Start with the names of your parents, not grandma. What is grandma's name? What village you live in? And you would improve the vocabulary of your children. And then you're going to know where Ticola is. And you're going to know where Cobby Stone is. And you're going to know where Hushmouth is. That is what we need to do. I don't even think the Prime Minister in Grenada know about Ticola. He riding planes so much. Go and ask him about Dubai. And once we found out where he used to go in St. Lucia and St. Kitts, we don't hear he going there now. Gone in Dubai and Nigeria. And he's sneaking in the country. And that must be of concern to all Grenadians. Massacre, time run fast.
Time has gone.
And we asking the people and we provoking discussion. And we practically targeting the NDC political activists.
Before we go, somebody tell me to ask to show it all the photogenic one of the doctor of journalism might be here. Does Dangote and the lady the authorities looking for if they are holder of Grenadian diplomatic passports?
What you expect? If Dickon have a sugar daddy, Dickon go give sugar daddy anything? It's an embarrassment to our country. But what you expect when you choose in the videos that say morality is a private thing? Never hear that. We want to thank you for participating in our program today. Always remember to share our program. We thank you again for Studio Galaxy. Let's play some Beat the Drum. Let's play some music. Yeah.